Hello everyone, this is Javamonk, and welcome to episode 82 of my survival series. So, last episode we built all of this entire room, and we also built this haiku and limerick generator, and we even activated it once. So, now let's activate it once for this episode. So our haiku for the episode is... Here we go. The haiku for this episode is, there was a young man, but sometimes they don't make sense. Oh no, I'm out of. Okay? Makes no sense. Eventually we're gonna get to a point where the limerick or haiku actually makes sense. Then press one more time for the limerick. And our limerick is, there once was a man from Purdue who dreamt he was eating his shoe. Hey, that actually rhymes. Blank said, I haven't a clue. Blank. That actually almost made sense. That's actually quite interesting. Okay. See, these blank parts are actually from the limerick I put in there that says, there once was a man from Purdue whose limerick stopped at line 2. And that's why these blank pieces, why it says blank here. So there we go. That's our limerick and haiku for this episode. And now, for the plan. So, last episode we built out this whole room with the bulk crafting system, the entrance to the cave spider farm, and this room here. So, this episode, I have enormous plans. We're going to give this room a purpose, and we're going to fix this issue. You can see the issue when I swing my camera around. So, just fine right here. In fact, if I pull up F3, I have 24 FPS, which is not exactly the best, but it's certainly doable. And then there's this. Suddenly the frame rates drop to a crawl. And in fact, this happens anytime I look in this direction. The villager island up above, anytime I'm up there, it seems I'm always loading this area. And it's all because of this bulk storage room. So, this episode, we're going to fix that. We're going to finally get rid of as much of the lag as we possibly can from this bulk storage room. Because I've been dealing with this lag since we expanded it beyond the 6 chests piled on top of each other. Ever since I expanded it up to the current height, I've been dealing with this lag. So, and now I am sick of it. Let's get rid of this lag. So what I have here is a metric crap ton of hoppers, which was gathered mainly for episode 42. But now we're going to use it here because this is going to be part of what we have to do to remove the lag. So most of the lag destruction will have to do with the fact that, well, it'll mainly be dealing with removing most of these giant stacks of chests because either they're unnecessary, well, mainly because they're unnecessary, and instead replacing it with this system here, which, by the way, this redstone lamp system is basically, if this hopper ends up having any items inside, then the comparator will light up, which will basically be an indicator as to whether or not the stack is full, at which point we can increase the amount of chests if we absolutely need to. But for now, we can just replace most of these stacks of chests with comparators and redstone lamp combos. So let's do that now. That'll hopefully remove quite a bit of the lag. Okay, all of the chests above that layer right there have been removed, and if I pull up F3, 8 FPS. So that's already an improvement. Not much of an improvement, but it is one. There's just one teeny tiny problem with what we just did. Well, actually, it's not a teeny tiny problem. That's 4 shulker boxes, yeah, almost 4 shulker boxes full of enchanted books, 2 shulker boxes full of fishing rods, and about 5 shulker boxes full of saddles. Those used to be stored up in these chests, and I've had to put them into shulker boxes here because they were above this line of redstone lamps. So we're gonna have to figure out what to do with those things. And also, we're having a bit of an issue with this cobblestone. See, the cobblestone is actually stacked up, but it actually stacks up all the way up to the top chest. So we're gonna have to fix that issue. And I think the way to do that is by putting in shulker box loaders. I think the solution to that particular storage issue lies in, once again, in shulker boxes. So here is Ilmango's shulker box loader system, except the normal version cannot handle unstackable items. And things like saddles, fishing rods, and bows are not stackable, and neither are enchanted books. So I modified it just a little bit so that it is compatible with unstackable items. So let me just show you what I got here. Let's see. This chest is full of golden swords, which is unstackable. And this is why I have the lava here. So here we go. I have an NBT chest full of golden swords, so now we can plop that on top of the hoppers here, and watch the magic. So that just popped off the full shulker box of golden swords, and then pretty soon it'll load up this shulker box with even more golden swords. So this is basically exactly the same as Ilmango's shulker box loader, except with a tiny, tiny little modification. This chest right here, which is full of golden swords minus 2 items. And also this comparator being on subtract mode. So by doing this, this comparator will only output a strong signal strength, strong enough to actually do anything, if this hopper is completely full. So this is perfect. All we gotta do is basically build Ilmango's shulker box loader system, but add this chest with almost full of unstackable things. I suppose that could be just stone shovels. So there you go. This is not going to be this is not tileable at all. But I don't need it to be tileable. And here's the shulker box loader for the saddles. So that chest right there is full of stone shovels because cobblestone is a material that I have way too much of, and also and shovels are the cheapest version of that thing, of stone. Stone shovels are also unstackable. So now I'm taking advantage of the data pack that essentially turns shulker boxes into player heads and vice versa. And I actually have gotten a few comments saying that this is actually cheating. And here's my reasoning behind why it's not cheating. First of all, player heads are not obtainable at all. Secondly, player heads are completely useless. They cannot be used in recipes or anything like that. So, for that matter, player heads are one of the only stackable items that actually that have those properties. So, thirdly, the main comment I've been getting actually is that possibly the player head could be storing the data of the shulker box, because as you can see, if I take one of these, you know what? I have way too many saddles. Actually, let me just grab a plain shulker box. I'm going to put one item inside, and then I'll show you what happens to that item. So let's turn this thing into a shulker box. So if I place, say, 32 pieces of cobblestone inside, and then I break it, then this shulker box, say it has NBT 1 tag. Now if I turn it into a player head, and then back into a shulker box, that NBT data goes away. The shulker box gets completely wiped. So even though I can turn player heads into shulker boxes and back again, and you can put player heads instead of shulker boxes just fine, the player heads do not store the data of that shulker box. So this is actually probably the most balanced way to stack shulker boxes. And the only reason I have so many shulker boxes is episode 42. So there you go. The system to automatically load in unstackable saddles is now in place. So I think now we can actually start, well, I guess we could just remove all the saddles from these chests, dump them back into the system, and then let that thing deal with all the saddles. I just found out about a really serious problem with this shulker box loader. So it actually takes up 3 blocks of width. And that's perfectly fine for something like the saddles and the fishing rods, but here we have bows and enchanted books. These two things also need to have shulker box loaders. But unfortunately, they are too close together. So I think I'm gonna swap out the position of the bows and the horse armor here. Neither of them will have item sorters, so it's not a big issue. However, it is a lot of items to move. Thank goodness for shulker boxes. The next thing that we should add to this bulk storage room, now that quite a bit of lag has been removed, is actually to kind of upgrade these item sorters. So we should upgrade these current item sorters from the overflow protected versions to double speed item sorters. This double speed item sorter comes from Ilmango. So since we're upgrading item sorters, which is a fundamental part of this bulk storage room, we can't exactly handle any new items at the moment. So I'm blocking off the water stream. No new items will be able to come through the bulk storage room. In fact, I'm thinking maybe even block off every single water source. This way, items don't get pushed around. And this is the double speed item sorter. Yeah, really. This is it. This here is just the overflow protected item sorter, just like what you would expect. But it's really adding a couple more hoppers that makes all the difference. So this hopper on top is actually facing downward, which apparently makes it sort items twice as quickly. Now, this came from Ilmango. I'll put the link to his video in the description. What he forgot to mention, though, is that this hopper right here is greedy. In each of these little tileable sections, this hopper needs to basically have a stack of whatever item you're sorting, plus 4 pieces of whatever item that's not going to be sorted through. And this basically ensures that this hopper will remain a functional sorter. So, what I have here to sort out are redstone torches, hoppers, repeaters, comparators, redstone, quartz, and packed ice. Just random pieces from my inventory as I was building this. So, I can just drop a couple items of each, and you can see that each of those things are sorted through. 2 redstone torches, 2 hoppers, 2 redstone repeaters, 2 comparators, 2 redstone, 2 pieces of quartz, and 2 packed ice. There we go. So now I guess the task is to replace every single item sorter in my bulk storage room with one of these things. Plus, I'm gonna need to find a way to get a stack of the whatever item I'm sorting out to put into this hopper right here so it doesn't try to steal from this hopper. This will be fun. Okay, turns out this hopper right here is even greedier than I thought, because you can't even put these gold nugget sorters in here, because if you do, then these sorters get stolen. So now I suppose I can just I'm going to start putting these gold nuggets in here. They're labeled sorters 2. And if I end up with a bunch of items named sorters or sorters 2, then we're having bigger problems already. So I'm just gonna deal with that. So now if I put sorters up here, it's probably not gonna be it's not gonna be all that bad. So now we have, hopefully, functional sorters. Let's test that. So let's say all of a sudden my cactus farm went crazy and dumped in 20 items. Does this get sorted out? Oh my golly, this is awesome. Okay, so this should decrease back to 40 cacti and stop at 41. There we go. Okay, this spot is untouched, and the remaining 20 probably went into the shulkerbox sorter, shulkerbox loading system. So let's see, one got stuck in here because this hopper is greedy, and nothing got stuck on any of these other hoppers. Okay, this is fantastic. Let's put the system into all of the other sorters. This will take a while. Another thing I'm doing while I'm removing the hopper sorters, I'm also removing extra chests that were on top of these hoppers that are completely unnecessary. Probably shouldn't be swinging my axe that hard. I'm also removing hopper sorters and item sorters that are either no longer necessary or will become unnecessary in update 1.14, which, by the way, at the time of me recording, is very, very close. At the time when this is released, update 1.14 will likely be out by then. So, for example, trapdoors. This cannot be sorted anymore because, well, trapdoors can split into different categories now, at least in 1.14. So you have like the oak trapdoors, spruce trapdoors, dark oak trapdoors, and so we cannot sort trapdoors anymore. But ladders can still be sorted. So here we go. Ladder sorter. I guess this part will be your 1.14 update recap. Considering I'm going through every single piece of the bulk storage room, might as well do this. So, signs are not going to be sortable anymore because they'll be coming in different packages. Like there'll be the oak signs, spruce signs, jungle signs, acacia signs. So, signs are no longer going to be sorted. Here's something interesting, something I don't think I've shown on camera before. So for slime balls, I actually had two different sorters running at the same time. And this is I put in these back in episode 50 because I decided to dump in a bunch of slime balls into the system after using them to move the mansion. So with the double speed item sorters, hopefully doubling up on slime balls is no longer necessary. What's even more interesting is the sorter the space for the sorter that it was taking up is one that I could use for player heads instead. So we can replace the second slime ball sorter with a player head sorter. And this way, I can just dump in the player head shulker boxes into basically the input for the whole bulk storage room, and it will be automatically sorted in. Another issue with a sorter. This one up here sorts out grass blocks. This one up here sorts out diorite. I can't sort out dirt or granite because there's physically no space for the sorters. Now, the issue is I can't put in fast item sorters for both. But from the multiple times that I use this thing, diorite is a far more common resource. So I'm going to keep the slow version for grass and upgrade the diorite sorter to the fast version. Here's another decision point I had to make. See, I didn't have to make that decision over on, let me just peek through the hoppers, on that side over there, on that corner, because on one side, the one side didn't have sorters at all, the other did, so that wasn't an issue. But over here, the decision is between cod and ice, and I chose to sort out cod because double sort cod because, well, when I'm at the fish farm, quite a few of these sorters are actually from the fish farm, so the cod is by far more common to. I'm often going to be dumping cod in automatically than ice, so yeah, cod's going to be double sorted. And I just did a test, and these double speed item sorters are actually compatible with items that stack up to 16, as proven by dropping a bunch of eggs. So there we go. I'm now almost all the way through the entire bulk storage room. I've removed some sorters here. I haven't added any because mainly the reason why I'm removing sorters is because update 1.14 actually split items into multiple categories, all of which would have had to be sorted if they were to be put into the same chest. And that was the case with things like the trapdoors and doors and signs. But now so I'm almost done with the bulk storage room. I'll catch up with you later, because the next improvement is going to be enormous. And over here, we are actually going to add a sorter. So here, the sorter is for lapis lazuli. For this one we can make it for sea pickles. This one, I'm going to replace it with one that will sort out ender pearls, which is going to be a slow sorter, because it's not very often that I'm going to be dumping tons and tons of ender pearls into the main input. So sea pickles are going to go here, and also, so over here we're going to have prismarine crystals, and we're going to add another sorter for prismarine shards instead of sea lanterns. Okay, all of the fast sorters are now in places where it would be needed for sorters to be fast, and the slow sorters are in places where they don't need to be fast. So all of the sorters work properly now. Pretty much all of the improvements that are sorter related are now complete, which means now it's time to release the water flows. We blocked them up before we replaced all the item sorters in case flooding happened, or, well, really it was the items that could have caused issues, but now they cannot. So, in fact, this will be the first full test of everything, all the sorters for the bulk storage room. And the bulk storage room is actually not that laggy anymore. Well, it is still really laggy, but now I think we should introduce some more functionality into the storage room, given the fact that some pieces of it have not been working correctly. Here we go. All the items are bunched up over here, quite a few of which have despawned, and now whammo. Okay, it all should now be sorted, so whoa, that's a lot of items. Okay, so maybe bunching them up like that wasn't such a good idea. So I've had some miscellaneous shulker boxes just hanging out either in my ender chest or even up in the mansion. They are red and redstone related, and just full of redstone related stuff, which would be really, really nice if I could just pull it out and it was near the bulk storage room where I could actually use it. So here was my idea for this room right here. This room was originally going to be like a secret room where I put some super valuable things like this is where I would put my emeralds and diamonds and things like that. But now that I think about it, this would be much, much better to put miscellaneous redstone stuff. So I have a shulker box full of redstone blocks, plus a bunch of other stuff. Plus a bunch of other redstone blocks. So I think we can just work with just double chests. And if ever I get a chest full of redstone if ever I get more than 9 redstone dust, I craft them into redstone blocks as they fill up. And then if I get a chest full of redstone blocks, then I put it into a shulker box. And if I end up filling this chest full of shulker boxes of redstone blocks, that would just be insane. So at that point, then I can add another chest on top maybe. But for now, this doesn't even need an automatic sorting system or anything like that, because doing so would kind of ruin the aesthetic of having the diagonal stripes of the polished granite, polished andesite, and polished diorite. I really like this look. And with that, these 3 shulker boxes that have been taking up space in my ender chest since episode 42 can now be removed from the ender chest. And unfortunately, the conversion from shulker box to player head does not work for dyed shulker boxes. So we're instead going to have to basically remove the dye from these shulker boxes. And here we go. Undyed, undyed, and undyed. Sweet. So now that we have the 3 undyed shulker boxes, we can finally convert them to player heads, remove their NBT, and that is the end of those 3 shulker boxes. So now it's time to deal with the shulker boxes up at the mansion. But first, let me just drop this off. And these shulker boxes have been here since episode 50. And yes, that's a shulker box full of observer blocks. This is why getting the ports for that mini Parthenon a couple episodes ago was very, very difficult to do. So let me just eat real quick. There we go. And no, that's not just one shulker box full of observers. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shulker boxes full of observers that have all just been pinned to this wall because I don't feel like filling my ender chest with them, and I didn't know where else to put them. So there we go. Second, also, this is 1, 2, 3, 9 shulker boxes filled entirely with pistons. So there we go. And this is also why mining for enough iron to make anvils is something that I have difficulty doing. So all of these shulker boxes can finally have a home in the redstone storage room. So now the question we have to answer is, what kind of redstone storage room doesn't have redstone contraptions inside it? Well, I'd actually rather not answer that question, and instead, let's build a redstone contraption. This will be a hideaway staircase. So this staircase is just going to be for going up back to those doors here, because the entrance to this place is really, really high up. So I think we're just going to do a simple contraption to basically hide the staircase. Just like that. And there we go. That is a hideaway staircase. So I'm just going to real quick remove the repeater so that way it flattens out with the wall once again. And then I place the repeater back and the staircase pops right back up. So now we can take advantage of the staircase itself to make the staircase. So here we go. Just need a sticky piston and a piece of polished granite. That's it. And this top piece here, it can't be part of the hideaway system because the door is at the same level as it is. Okay, that will do. So we have a hideaway staircase that can just hide itself back into the floor or into the wall. So that's pretty cool. So at least we have some sort of redstone contraption in the redstone storage room. So now let's figure out what the pattern was. Because I built this a long time ago. There we go. So pretty soon the signal is going to wear out, and then the staircase won't be there anymore. I think I have an item that might actually fill up an entire chest full of shulker boxes of this item. Trapdoors. Specifically, oak trapdoors. Way back in episode 50, when I was moving an entire mansion, I used these trapdoors to basically ensure that the structure of the mansion did not collapse. But that does mean that I had quite literally a mansion full of trapdoors. So this was also back in 1.12 when oak trapdoors were not really a thing that was different from regular trapdoors. They were just regular trapdoors. So this was an absolute pain to craft, and this is why I kept them all. So this might actually fill up an entire double chest in the redstone storage system, because we're moving it out of this main bulk storage room. The next improvement is to actually make this system work correctly. See those hoppers down on the floor there? They are there so that I can just dump items into one of those hoppers, and it automatically gets put into the chests that correspond to that particular slice. Now, this kind of stopped working reliably in 1.13 because hoppers are no longer full blocks. So, what do you say we fix that? And the way we can fix that is by actually taking advantage of other item properties. So, the reason why these hoppers are even up here is because items will travel upwards if there are blocks blocking its way going in any other direction. So, we can take advantage of this behavior, make it go up one more block, just like this, and then from there, we intentionally block its path going up any further, and instead when it hits this block, it's not going to be able to go into that stone wall, it's not going to be able to go that way or that way, so it's forced to go in the direction of the hoppers. Hopefully, that makes this actually work. So there we go. Let's make this change to every single one of these item elevator thingies. And a view from the camera account, you can see that not as many items are getting stuck under the hoppers, which is very good. And I'm not sure if I can actually improve this at all, because if I add another hopper underneath it to catch all those items, then the items are just going to get stuck under that hopper. So, yeah, I think this is actually a pretty good improvement. I think the best way to truly remove all the inefficiencies related to items getting stuck underneath hoppers is by, instead of using hoppers right away at the side of the item sort, or on the side of the item elevator, we should instead be using the hoppers away from the item elevator, and instead push the items to the hoppers using water. So, let's see, this is the one for cobblestone, right? Okay. So we can just dump in all cobblestone into this chest for now, until we have something to deal with the extra items. Okay, the next quick improvement, because at the moment I can't really figure out how to get these individual item elevators to work properly. Let's instead fix a really dumb mistake I made during the 3 a.m. special, and that is shoving that shulker box system right inside whatever item elevator I had there for the pumpkins. So, yeah, that was dumb. Let's fix that. Okay, there we go. The pumpkin farm is now, or the pumpkin farm shulker box loader is now in its proper position. So, if the dropper elevator thingamajig actually worked correctly, then I could just drop the pumpkins into this hopper and it would filter in. It seems this episode is all about taking care of the pet peeves of anything related to storage. And now we do the big one. This is the enormous task of totally replacing this floor here, because stone, coal ore, dirt, I mean, what kind of floor is this? This is a bulk storage room where I quite literally have chests full of essentially shulker boxes and all kinds of other stuff. At this point, the redstone storage system has a really good decoration. It's the giant J on the floor for Javamonk, plus the nice little ceiling here, built way back in episode, I don't know, 20-something. But now, And also we have this room here, which is also nicely decorated. But now it's time we replace the floor of this room and install a ceiling. I think to make the floor, we should use acacia planks, because we have plenty of these after 2 episodes ago, building the giant Tower of Sauron and utterly destroy. Look at that! I'm putting stuff into these hoppers, even though they're not even connected. So I think having a ceiling out of acacia planks would be a good idea, but we also need indicators for when those chests of shulker boxes up there go empty. Because if that happens, the entire bulk storage room can descend into chaos. You know, I was debating as to whether or not I should do a glazed terracotta super crazy special pattern for the floor or ceiling, but after dealing with the glazed terracotta platform pattern on the floor there, I would not want to do it on the ceiling. Personally, I hate dealing with ceilings, of any kind. I have a newfound respect for Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel painting, because seriously, ceilings are a pain. On second thought, this glowstone ceiling looks pretty good. So, I kind of like how this looks. I could also do something like sea lanterns. It's basically got to be a light-emitting block, because if this floor is going to be a glazed terracotta pattern, I don't want torches. I don't want to have to place torches or glowstone on it. So, this floor here is going to be constructed entirely out of glazed terracotta. Now, here's the thing. I don't know really how to make glazed terracotta look good. I mean, I really tried in that room over there, but I really don't think I did that great of a job. And this is why I had a fan make this pattern for me. Now, he did this on the Bedrock edition, and his gamer tag is robot, all lowercase. And I'm not going to tell you their real name for privacy reasons. So, next up, we're going to tear out this whole floor and replace it with a glazed terracotta pattern. There's a couple teeny tiny problems with this whole glazed terracotta pattern. Well, actually, it's an enormous, big, giant issue. So, that is this glass tube here. I would like the center of the massive glazed terracotta pattern to be in the middle, to basically be a 3x3 area centered at this glass tube. Because this is where items come through from this input here, over there, plus the slime farm, plus the spider farm, plus a couple other things. But the thing is, this glass tube is not centered with the rest of the bulk storage room. In fact, it is completely lopsided. So there are 12 blocks from this glass thing to the hoppers here. There are 11 blocks from the glass to those hoppers there, which would not be a problem if it was just 1 block off in the perpendicular directions. But no, it's also 15 blocks in this direction, and 13 blocks in this direction. So, this glass tube was built completely wrong. So, that means we're going to have to tear down this glass tube and center it as best we can to the bulk storage room. And this does also mean that I'm going to have to move the droppers that are responsible for making this glass tube actually work, and then we can get started on the glazed terracotta pattern. So there's another tiny little problem. This gigantic pattern, which is what my fan made for me, this pattern is a 43 by 43 square pattern, which looks absolutely wonderful. This is what I'm planning to build. The only issue is the bulk storage room is not only much smaller than this, it's also rectangular. So we're just gonna have to, I guess we can just shave off part of this glazed terracotta on the rims here, Or better yet, I can put it underneath the... I can have that part just go underneath the area where the entrance goes. So that is actually not an issue. The issue was that it was not centered. So now that I removed the glass pillar, we can center this glazed terracotta pattern on that glass tube. So I've already had to heavily modify the glazed terracotta pattern so that it actually worked with this lopsided rectangular room. And so this is the centerpiece right here. It's going to be very long, but still 3 blocks wide, because this is the minimum needed to make a glass elevator work. So, and what's even crazier is that it's an even number of blocks going from this way to that way. So yeah, this bulk storage room is really, really lopsided, but I don't feel like changing that because doing so would require me to either remove or add a whole bunch of chests and also end up moving several chests full of items. And I just don't feel like doing that. So we're just going to deal with this rectangular room. Okay, I've also had to remove some of the details of the glazed terracotta pattern because turns out these diagonal stripes here that make the giant diamond, they're actually... I can't have the bits of gray glazed terracotta and light gray glazed terracotta. I can't have that because otherwise there won't be room for these stripes. So I'm now onto this side here, and Rebel the Parrot can just sit on my shoulder for now. And the floor is now done. I actually could not get a third-person time-lapse going because apparently future Javamonk, when he comes to visit this area, and if I'm in the same place, it totally lags out the game. So I just built this floor off camera. Now, here in the middle, I just upgraded the dropper mechanism to have 2 droppers instead of just 1. And I think the centerpiece can just be 4 diamond blocks. Because we have the diamonds. I have like almost a stack of diamond blocks back up at the mansion. So now that we have a double dropper combo, we can extend up this glass pillar here, or the glass tube. And I think it'd be really cool if we actually mix in some stained glass and make some sort of pattern with that. There we go. 2 J's, one on this side of the glass pillar, the other on this side, and nice and subtle as well. So I think that'll do for the glass elevator decoration, because once it gets beyond this glowstone ceiling, it's not, the items and whatever decoration is not going to be visible anyway. So something that's really, really cool about this thing I just built. So on the glazed terracotta platform, the light level is 7, so no mobs can spawn here at all. But it also has this kind of cool little glow to it, which is really nice. That's done by the glowstone on the ceiling. So on the corners here, I put bubble columns, and this is the only access up above the roof. These redstone lamps correspond to each of the shulker box loaders, and if the shulker box loader runs out of shulker boxes to load, then one of the lamps will light up, at which point I'm going to need to come in with ender pearls. So just ender pearl into the bubble column, just like this. And now we're on top of here in the lag zone. So you can see here, each of these comparators basically lights up a redstone lamp underneath the floor here. And this way also, I don't have to see the hoppers. I don't have to see mobs jumping down from those hoppers. So it seems the best way to deal with mobs is to not see them at all. And here we can see the view from the camera account. So I just dropped a bunch of stone blocks into the dropper that basically feeds items into this bulk storage room. So as you can see, all the items just pop up here and then drop into the rest of the water stream, just like all the other items. So there we go. That is a double dropper system. So Now everything is working. We even have the input rigged up. So next up, we need to put in these manual inputs, or the individual inputs. We need to rig them up so that they actually work properly. And I think I have the perfect solution for that. And all the utility blocks that I'm so familiar with having in the bulk storage room are now back in the room. So these spaces next to the column are going to be filled up with more utility crafting blocks in the 1.14 update, once I actually craft them. But for now, this shulker box is just full of miscellaneous stuff that I will later sort in manually to test the mechanism that we're about to put in. So what we're about to put in is an old school dropper elevator. So what I figured out was hoppers are not full blocks anymore, and so no matter what I do, the items will perpetually get stuck underneath the hoppers. See, items can come through these chests because they were working before because the hoppers were full blocks, and then once 1.13 came around, items still came through into the bulk storage rooms for these individual inputs because of the item velocities. So items can just have random speeds, and occasionally it's enough to pop them up over into the hopper, but most of the time the items would get stuck. So now the solution is to build old school dropper elevators, because also water elevators simply don't work. Water is too, I guess, unpredictable. It works just fine for things like item elevators here, where it really doesn't matter where it ends up. But here, for individual slices, I don't want to be dumping in spider eyes over here and find spider eyes filtering in over here, because I actually did a test on a backup of this world, and that's exactly what would have happened. If I dumped in a spider eyes in here, there might be spider eyes just popping in the water bottles chest, which is no good. So now that we have the enormous dropper pillars, we gotta find a way to continuously power these things so that items can actually go up through the elevators. And I think the way to do that is to take advantage of the system we already have and basically activate all of these droppers using nothing but observers, because as I've just shown in a couple clips ago, I have more observers than I know what to do with. So I guess this will be something that I know what to do with them. Okay, all of the observers are now in place, so let's do a quick test. Let's just drop 16 ender pearls into this hopper, and you should hear just a bunch of clicking now. Pretty soon. Because this dropper elevator is loud. There we go. Okay. That's pretty cool. So now we can monitor well, now we have a working system, I think, to drop items in. In fact, I can do another test. Let's actually drop something that I can actually track. Let's drop some sea pickles in here. And actually, that's probably not enough, because this dropper elevator kind of works like a pump. So you have to drop a bunch of items in there in order for any of them to actually start making it back. So let's actually do that. Let's drop a stack of lapis lazuli. I have way too much of it anyway. So here we go. Well, that's cool. I dropped a stack of lapis lazuli into the individual droppers, and I got a stack back in this slot of the chest. So it appears that these observers were rigged up in such a way that all of the droppers get powered in a rhythmic way, and so every single item comes through the droppers. So none of the droppers end up stealing any of the items. That's actually a critical problem with most dropper elevators. It's that some droppers actually don't spit out their item, or certain items don't make it all the way up to the top, and that could cause issues. So here we go. With using almost entirely observers, we managed to make a perfect dropper elevator that is not silent at all in the slightest. And now for the grand test. I have a bunch of stone plus a bunch of purple. I can put the purple away manually, but the stone I'm just gonna dump into the individual item elevator for stone, and yeah, everything is now complete. We have the glazed terracotta floor. We have the specialized item elevators, old school style, because in this case it seems old school's the right school once again. So it seems even with the whole items can go through blocks thing, which works just fine for glass elevators, it doesn't work as soon as you bring in hoppers into the mix. So there we go. Items are now filtering through the item elevator, and you should hear some clicking going on. There we go. That's more like it. So that clicking will soon stop once all these items are put through the hopper and through the system. And once that happens, all of the stone will be filtering in to these chests right here with no deviation whatsoever. That was actually an issue with the previous design. Sometimes the items would get random velocity in other directions, and for example, I'd get stone leaking into the ender chest, into the andesite chest. But with the old school item elevators, that will not happen. Well, this is interesting. We have, as you can hear, the dropper system is actually working, but it's not really responding. I've quite officially logged out the game. I think I'm just going to leave it AFK like this for a couple hours and then see if it clears up at all. Although, the fact that the lights above the stone chest are lit indicate trouble. Assuming I can actually swing my camera around to actually see it. Yeah, see? Got the triple lamp going. That's not good. So that might be the issue. And all of a sudden, the lag is gone. Or at least the lag that was basically stopping me from moving. That's the weirdest thing. It's like it was lagging as though I detonated a million pieces of TNT. But I didn't. Huh. So weird. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. And I have a hunch it's actually this glowstone that's causing the issues because light updates. But good thing here, update 1.14 apparently fixes lighting updates, or at least makes it so that they're not ridiculously laggy. So hopefully in doing that, it'll basically stop the hopefully by doing that it'll make this bulk storage room a lot less laggy, because simply the existence of this glowstone is lagging this bulk storage room like crazy. And possibly that update to the lighting engine in 1.14 will probably make it so all the lag I was dealing with back in episode 50 with moving the mansion, I won't have to deal with that anymore. That would be fantastic, because I have plans for an upcoming episode related to moving structures around. And if the 1.14 lighting update really fixes that lag, then oh my golly, the possibilities open up. Here's something interesting. There are still melons flowing past this hopper, which is meant to sort out melon slices. The hopper isn't getting filled up, and yet items are still gliding right past it. And this is a double-speed item sorter. So, sounds like we got some issues with hoppers that I don't even understand. So, I'm going to actually do some, I guess, research into how exactly hoppers work, because there's something fundamental that I'm missing here. Why are items sliding past this hopper? This thing is a double-speed item sorter, and this is not getting filled up to 64. That is so weird. So, turns out the issue with the item sorter is, no matter how fast the item sorter is, there is still this thing called the transfer cooldown for hoppers. So it's like once hoppers are transfer items, it's like they can't handle anything for 3 redstone ticks. So what I have here is basically a compact version of Ilmango's super crazy redstone contraption that basically does the same thing. And that redstone contraption is something to basically clump items together. So basically, the way that currently items are coming in, they come in kind of like this. And they just sporadically come in like this. So what this thing basically does is it clumps together the items as best it can. So that way the hoppers, they can't miss clumps of items, but they can miss it when it's a continuous stream of individual items. So this basically clumps items together. And this is the final improvement to this bulk storage room that I'm going to make this episode. So let's just hop right back down and jump back into the main storage room through the downwards bubble column and ender pearl out into a new fandangled bulk storage room, complete with functional dropper elevators for each of these chests. It has a newly decorated floor, a lit up ceiling, plus a nice little darkish feel to it. We have a home. Where's Rebel the parrot? Over here. He's a rebel. Doesn't follow anybody. We have a larger-than-life glass elevator, and for the input items. We also have redstone lamp indicators for if any of these chests fill up, or if any of the shulker box loading mechanisms run out of shulker boxes to load. Plus, we have automatic shulker box filling for some of the unstackable items that are very quickly filling up the system. So there we go. That is our new fandangled bulk storage room. I am so happy. So this concludes. Oh, better close up these doors. There we go. And that concludes this two-parter episode, or two-part project. So we now have this section here with the haiku and limerick generator over here. We have the bulk crafting system. We have the entrance to the cave spider AFK place. We have a storage specifically for bulk redstone supplies. Plus, I'm thinking we could also just, off camera, I'm going to put in a trash can system so I can just flick a lever and I can dump items into like a lava pit or something. We have a brand new bulk storage room, and with the glazed terracotta pattern, but brought to you by a fan of mine. Plus we have the new and improved glass elevator, new and improved shulker box loaders, new and improved ceiling. Just everything that's important related to storage is now new and improved. So, I really hope you enjoyed these episodes. If you did, please let me know, and I'll see you next video.